day behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open. You'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and let our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk at the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk at the tavern. Promising beer and bedlam. The talk at the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk at the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
And welcome to Talk of the Tavern, June 10th, 2019. Tonight's topic is going to be, we're happy to be here, and here's why. We'll get to that soon enough. Let me introduce myself. I'm Travis. I'm going to run the show. I've got bourbon. I've got a Padilla 1968 I'm going to smoke, to the regret of both Kevin and Ed, and we'll get to that also. And other than that, soda. Hey, look at that. It's a... You know what? I thought I fixed that. I'm going to have to go back and fix that. Anyhow, let's do some introductions. I'm going to go around the screen. Hey, Toey, how are ya?
What a boy.
I'm going to go around the screen starting in the upper left and introduce each, or have each person introduce themselves. Chris, let's start with you.
Hi! I'm Chris. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper. That is all.
Very exciting. Let's move on to the lady of the evening, Elizabeth.
She could be a lady of the night. You don't know what she does in her free time.
Don't tell her what.
I'd have a nicer car.
Isn't that true? Hey, Gary.
Good evening. Hi, Gary. Hi, Toey. Hopefully, hey, Bill and Kat. Tonight, I will be drinking, as always, one of my favorite.
Yes, you will be. Oh, there was more after that.
And water. Water. That's it.
You want to pimp anything? You know, I'm Elizabeth of Picklemint. No? You good? Okay. Ed, let's move on to you.
What up, people? I am drinking Miomi Pinot Noir and eating these little chocolate shit because I can't smoke no more.
The little chocolate what?
These little Hershey bar things, so, you know.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, crackle. Those are the best.
Here's my food, Mr. Good. I went downstairs before the show and I grabbed a huge handful of them. Now, the one that I hate the most is the special dark chocolate. Why do I need special dark chocolate? I got like 4 of those and 3 of the other.
You are special dark chocolate.
That's my favorite. It's and then last but not least, Kevin.
Bonsoir. Tonight I am smoking nothing. And I'll be drinking extremely watered down black coffee.
Okay, very good. Now I do want to go around, especially to, I'm going to start with Chris and Elizabeth and then go to Ed and Kevin last to find out what's going on in people's lives lately. But first I do want to point out that I have assigned new VIPs to the channel. VIPs, just so you know, what you get is basically you get to go all the places moderators go, and if I decide, like, subscriber-only chat, or anybody who's not a subscriber gets, like, a slower chat response, you get no penalties because we like you. Yeah, Gary, we're gonna jump on that in just a moment. So, Chris, anything exciting happened in your life in the past week?
We open a show at the theater this evening that I do not have to be at.
Because you're that good, you don't even have to be there.
The first non-mandatory one.
Yay!
Usually it's mandatory for all staff to go to all openings. And I had to be at the last one because shit went down over the weekend. But because it's at a different theater that's not ours, there's not enough room for all of the people. So I don't have to be there.
Yay! Do you want to tell what theater or what show or anything else? Something that might interest the viewers besides you're not working.
My theater is Roundhouse Theater in Bethesda. We are down at the historic Landsberg Theater that Shakespeare Theatre Company has, because our theater is under renovation, which is going well-ish, I guess. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been in the building.
That's what the guy with the lisp
and
likes on his
the
hot dog, wellish.
The show we are opening is A Doll's House 2.
Like the Joss Whedon TV show, Dollhouse?
No, like the Ibsen play, feminist play, Doll's House.
Oh.
There is a part 2.
So it's a horror? Yes, Elizabeth?
Chris, is your theater associated with the Roundhouse Theater in New York?
No.
Okay.
And it's also
That's
not
gonna get all
associated with the
excited.
Chuck Norris kick. So what about you, Elizabeth? What went on in the past week for you?
Oh, World Cup, baby!
Oh, did you win?
This is my first World Cup soccer foray without my dad.
Oh.
And I've been watching it nonstop and writing, sending feedback, and just having a very productive, back-destroying, hand-destroying weekend. And I'm having a ball. And if I have to spend the rest of my life writing screenplays, I'll do it.
Oh.
It's just the most fun I've had in years. So.
Nice, nice. Now you mentioned the cup, and you said 4A. Is that the size your cup is? So I heard
The
of
World
double
Cup.
D, but not 4A.
You keep cutting out, so I know you're teasing me about something, but I can't tell.
Now, am I cutting out for
Sure.
Am I cutting out for everybody?
No, not for me. I heard you.
Well, I don't know if you're cutting out. You get quiet.
Oh no,
Um,
I'm shouting.
Still, well, I don't know, but let me respond by saying I've been researching producers and making spreadsheets because I'm going to start contacting them. And one of my favorite movie titles of all time, they once did about, I don't know, it's 5 years ago, they did a film called Piranha 3D.
I remember it well.
A comedy horror about
You're seeing that pop up on the Sci-Fi Network.
the second part of that movie was called Piranha 3 Double D.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's the porn version.
So I remember thinking,
I've not quite got around to it. It's just underneath the final Sharknado. It's about time on my to
oh,
watch.
it's and if I said I just heard a woman's voice say, "Oh my God, that says sexist," and I said out loud, "Yeah, that's why it's funny."
I'd love to give women the double D. And I like to
And
receive
the
their
movie
double
poster
D.
is what you think. So,
Fucking psychological masochist.
I love it. It's the strangest, most absurd industry. I love it.
Okay, now let's take a moment and turn over to Ed. Ed, you haven't been here since, like, I don't know, New Year's, 14 weeks, something like that. How the hell have you been, and what's been going on in your life? Don't give us one sentence, by the way. You need to give us more than that.
Huh? Doing good. Working my ass off. Memorial Day weekend, I got to work at the Redneck RV Park. That was a lot of fun.
So,
It was fun.
that's got to have a story to it.
Oh, it's an RV park up in West Virginia, of course.
Uh-huh.
1,400 lot. And I figured out where rednecks go to drink and drive.
Nice. That reminds me...
It's West Virginia, so everywhere?
Right, that's what he meant, just West Virginia.
They all have a little golf cart or their Ranger or what have you, and they just ride around all day long. They're a happy lot, you know, but hey, that's what they do.
You know what? Thanks to you, Ed, and that one weekend, there are now dozens of white people who could say they have a black friend.
This is true. They love me up there, man.
Because you're that special dark chocolate.
What's not to love?
Yeah, exactly. What's not to love, you know?
Did you keep the address so we can go for it?
Oh, I've been up there twice since then, having to work called in. People call off. That's what I'm doing now. I was supposed to be doing. They created this nice job for me where I travel from site to site to site, do evaluations, tell you, hey, maybe we can do things better. And when I'm not doing that, then I work for officers that call off. So I'm not doing that. I'm working for officers that call off.
Word's got around. Hey, if you pull a sickie, they got some guy who covers us now. Suddenly they got like the highest record of sick days ever.
It's
Ouch.
I think it was last week, just before the show, Ed, if I remember correctly. We had a sheriff pull up in our driveway, and I meet him at the door, as I usually do with anybody that pulls into my driveway. And it's a young, thin, black guy. And he's like, and he's, got his finger on his radio, his other one somewhere near his holster. He's like, so is everything okay here? I'm like, yeah, why? And he's like, we got a call from here. And I'm like, do you want to step inside? Figure, let him look around, let him see the place. And when he steps inside, I'm like, hope you're okay with cats. And he's, anybody else here? I'm like, yep, my girlfriend, Andrea, come on out. And he's like, well, we got a call from your shed. And I'm like, what? He's like, we had a call from your shed. I'm like, your GPS triangulation got it to my shed? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And he calls and checks the number. It's neither of our numbers. We only have the cell phones. He's like, do you know of anybody else who might have called? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Now, Ed, did you get to hear the story about the redneck romance outside of my house a month or so ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I got to hear part 2, like 2 days before this sheriff showed up. But they weren't on the road. They were actually at their house, 2 houses away. And I'm not in a residential neighborhood. I'm in the country, which means, I don't know, it's like 3 miles. And I can hear the screaming. Kevin, reset your camera for me, please. Here, you've gone green. But yeah, I sent him over there and I warned him. I'm like, but before you go over there, I have to warn you, you're really going into a redneck area, so be careful over there. But I heard no gunshots or other screams. Man, I when I first met my neighbors, I told you the stories of how they were like, oh, the schools used to be okay, then they started busting in the blacks. Not that I have a problem with blacks. And I'm like, no, I don't think you can backpedal on this one. So, but
Black what?
I have a quick question for John. I see he's here, was here a little while ago. John, did you ever get the Stargate Universe book, and how did you like it? I've been meaning to ask you that. And while we're waiting for John to get back to us.
Very good. It's Toei, John, you'll both notice that you are VIP. Elizabeth, you'll notice you're VIP also. So as I said, I made a half dozen or a dozen people VIP. So you guys, if ever I do things that benefit subscribers and others, I want to make sure you guys are included in it because of your immense support of the channel, etc. Yeah, absolutely, Toei. Okay, Ed, you got any more?
Nah, just working, man. That's it.
So, Kevin, you weren't here last week.
Yeah.
Anything
sorry about
interesting
that.
go on in your life? Oh, 1 second
No,
before you go on.
nothing.
Hold on. Ed, can you repeat that for John, please?
Yeah, John, when we had the Stargate show, I happened to mention the Stargate Universe comic book that was picking up after the TV show. And you showed some interest there. Did you pick it up? What do you think about it? I haven't gotten it yet, so I was just curious.
Okay. Thank you. Kevin, so you're saying...
Nothing happened. Nothing of any significance whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like turning up last
You
week.
quit smoking. That's something.
I have quit smoking, yeah. That's particularly newsworthy, other than as a warning to anyone stepping within grabbing distance.
So let me ask, what inspired your smoking departure?
You knew it was coming.
Well, yeah, I'm getting bored of talking about it, but since you asked, I had a heart attack.
On the dance floor?
No, it wasn't murder on the dance floor. It was it's a major cardiac infarction of the downward descending anterior artery of the right side of my heart, since you asked. That doesn't fit catchily into song lyrics, so
I do want
go
to
with
say,
whatever
I do
phrase
like the
makes you
word.
happy.
I do like the word infarction. It sounds a little dirty.
It was just a total eclipse of the heart?
Yeah, it was a major eclipse of the heart, yeah. It's like a 2.5 Bonnie Tylers on the Tyler scale of...
That would explain the pressure that felt like a medicine ball or a foot on your chest. It was 2.5 Bonnie Tylers.
Yes, the Saturday before last Monday's show, I woke up and had a massive car attack in the morning. But as you can see, massive apologies, I'm not dead. Better luck next time, suckers.
Yeah, that's right. It's,
Guess we gotta go to Plan B.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute, isn't that an abortion pill, Chris?
Fine, Plan C.
Yeah.
Isn't that from outer space?
Well, I'm certainly not moving forward with Plan D.
Plan B is where you try and finish me off in the opposite of inner space, where you shrink down to a tiny little medical sub, have yourself inserted into my heart, and then deliberately resize yourself from inside me.
What about a Plan Double D? What does that look like?
It's the same but with two submarines.
The amusement park. Two submarines.
Good times.
Reinflate the
3
submarines.
double D, like 3D, DD.
I guess if you tried to read that instead of say it, it'd be 3 Hey, look at Ed keeping his lead on the bits. Thank you, Ed. Oh, I do want to point this out, guys. It's that we now have a Cogsley bot instead of Stream Elements talking to everybody when people cheer bits, etc. This has been an upgrade to the channel, as well as a few other things that is mostly behind the scenes and you'll never see. Hey, look at that, Kevin whipping out his cock.
Gotta make sure it still works post-op.
Be careful carrying that extra weight around.
So let's do an opening toast. Along with the topic of we're happy to be here and here's why. Here's to everybody that showed up and the people that didn't. Well, fuck them. No, I mean, we miss them.
Those motherfuckers.
Bob only shows up when you're on, Ed. Well, actually, he shows up.
Brother-in-law.
He shows up, then he leaves when he sees you're not on. So at least he shows up.
So he feels outnumbered when he's the only black man.
It could be. It is a possibility. So, I guess we're actually officially, really only a 20-minute intro. Doesn't anybody else have any other cool stories?
I apologise, yeah. Apart from having a major heart attack, my schedule's been surprisingly free over the last week or so.
Yeah, you feel like you could have prepped something.
Laid there struggling to breathe, like every moment of indigestion I get is scaring the shit out of me in case it's the onset of a second heart attack. But in the back of my mind is the ever-present thought, I need to get up and do something worthwhile so I can talk about shit on top of the tavern.
There we go. I'm glad you have priorities like this, Kevin. It really shows the dedication that I expect.
Were it not for literal fatigue finishing me off before the start of the show, I would have been on the show 48 hours after suffering my heart attack. I was set to come on the show last week, but I just couldn't keep my eyes open long enough to make it to the start.
I'll be back, guys. I gotta take care of my pussy.
Okay, very good. Good idea. I like that. It's
give her my love.
No, he's gonna give her somebody's love. Kevin, would you care to show them your surgery scar? Or is that a little too intrusive? Is that too much?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Sadly, my camera won't actually focus on it too well, as we discovered earlier. But here is my wrist, and there, if you can see that little spot there, is the awesome scar from heart surgery. That little pink spot just there.
There we go.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's it. The huge gaping wound left behind by my heart surgery.
Yep. So apparently, since Kevin is tired of talking about it, I'll talk about it a little bit. From what he told us right before we got on the show, and as I repeat what he said, Basically, they ran a wire-thin camera up his artery from his arm across his chest into his heart. Went, "You're gonna feel a little pressure, mister." Inflated a balloon, put a stent in, 3 seconds later, deflated it. Done. And they're like, "Here's a mop. Start earning your fucking free health care." That's about how it went, right?
They had me sterilising and polishing scalpels whilst I was on the operating table. That was a very surreal experience. Like I say, I was conscious throughout it, more or less. Doped up to the eyeballs on morphine, but it was quite a serious procedure, so they kind of didn't hang around, so it was all a little bit whirlwind, so didn't really have time to process an awful lot of what was going on until afterwards. But yeah, very, very curious sensation to have somebody tell you whilst you're conscious, "We're going to inflate a balloon in your heart now, and you're going to feel the pain when we do it." And then a few seconds later, hear the hiss of compressed air, and then have the pain come on in your chest, and think, "This is happening in my heart right now, and this guy is talking me through it, and I'm conscious whilst they're operating on my heart through a tiny surgical hole in my right wrist." It's absolute head fuck.
I feel like they should have either had a monitor or a Fisher-Price toy with a label that said pain meter, and it just shot up during that moment and then went down.
I was devastated with myself. As a fan of British comedy for decades, I missed a golden moment that only occurred to me afterwards, when they wheeled me into the operating theatre, and I should have declaimed loudly, "I see you have the machine that goes ping."
They probably never heard that.
It's all timing, buddy.
Yeah.
They probably never heard that because they knock most people out before they bring their little chatty asses in there. So, Kevin, let me ask you, with this type of thing, it can quite often be life-changing. Andrea's son, Frank, went through spinal surgery a few weeks ago. That boy has done a 180 personality-wise. He seems so appreciative of life and everything going on and understanding of other people's effort. It's incredible. And we hear these experiences being eye-openers, epiphany moments, moments of clarity that change how you see life and appreciate. What about you? Any changes, or were you just like spot on to begin with anyway?
I suppose in terms of, are there any major changes in my entire lifestyle, I'd have to be honest and say it's too early to tell. I can't do anything yet, so...
I just mean in your attitude and mindset and what you appreciate about life.
I get where you're coming from,
okay.
But I suppose what I mean is that it's all so recent that until I really regain my mobility, start moving around, work out whether or not it has an ongoing impact in terms of things like physical mobility, employment, that kind of thing, all of which is up in the air and ahead of me at the moment.
Right.
In the last 7 days, no, not a massive change, I suppose. The one thing I can take out of it, which I found quite odd actually, was once I reached a moment where I realised that it wasn't something minor. You know, as I said to you guys earlier, I kind of had this flip switch moment about 2 minutes out of theatre where I suddenly realised these guys aren't fucking around. You know, the smiling and joking has stopped. They're taking this very seriously. This could be the big moment if I'm not careful. And the one surprising and quite joyous thing I took away from it was that I am not scared of dying. Or at least I wasn't in that context. You know, you suspend me with my testicles over a pit of alligators, I may reassess that comment. But in and at that moment, would I have had regrets? Yeah, but I mean, who wouldn't? You know, who's ever led such a perfect life that in that final moment of assessment you can't find something to pick holes in? But
so what regrets do you have in life? And are they correctable? Can you turn those around?
I don't think so. I've never been one of those people who, you know, if I pass from this world and there's no great monument left behind to remember me, I'll lose no sleep and cry no tears over that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that there are enough people out there that I've had a positive effect on over the course of my life up to this point, that if it all did end now and you drew a line underneath it all, I'd be happy with how I lived my life, the principles I upheld myself by, the standards I stuck to. I wouldn't change any of that, try and be a different person just because I was fated to die in my early 40s. It is who I am. What pleased me more than anything was to be able to face that moment and know that I was clear-minded and not afraid and not a gibbering mess of emotional breakdown in my last few moments, or potential last few moments. Yeah.
Let me flip this over to everybody else. Because I myself, I've thought about it. I wrote a book about it. I don't have any regrets in my life. I don't have things that I look back on going, oh, if only I hadn't done that. I did it. I accept it. I've moved forward from whatever it is, positive, negative, or otherwise. What about you guys? You guys got any regrets in your past? And do you think you can do something to make it not something you regret?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I can't fix the thing that I regret because it was something I didn't do.
So you do have a regret then?
Well, yes, I regret that because of my personality. Well, I don't know about personality. Now that I look back at it, I see the way I procrastinated and did not complete my Eagle Scout when I was in the Scouts. So, like, that is something that I can't go back and do and fix. Now, if I had a time machine or, like, could send myself a message and be like, hey, fucker, get your shit together and, like, do this because you're going to regret it later, I would. Right. But, like, that's not something that I, can go back and fix.
You can't become an Eagle Scout over 18 years old?
No, can't. Okay. I understand what I really absolutely positively can sympathize with him. Had my project approved, everything, just wouldn't get off my ass and do it. And,
yep, me too.
And apparently they had even sent my awards to my troop. They were so sure that I was going to do it. Scoutmaster 20 years later, I ran into a different Scoutmaster. It's like, you never did get your Eagle Award stuff. I found your packet and everything laying there. It's like, I never finished the project.
Kevin, my apologies, but your camera has gone pixelated again. If you'd be kind enough to reset that, please. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
So, not finishing your Eagle Scout, huh? For both of you.
Yeah. It's not something I can say I really regret. It's just, I have a couple friends whose sons are in scouting, and they are getting to the point where they're working on the Eagle project, and I'm just kind of like booting them along, do it, because...
Aiden needs beat too in that aspect, guys. Seriously. He's supposed to be doing his soon, and he's just not getting up and doing it.
Yes, Olivia.
Because all of us have so much free time. I'm an Eagle Scout mentor, and I even have the official pen in recognition. And I've helped a couple get their Eagle Scout with, the little effort I have, and it's pretty rewarding. And it does get noticed. It's gotten me interviews with people. So, not now, but maybe in the future, maybe that could help kind of stem that little regret. Maybe you can help someone else get theirs. So it's always out there.
Now, what about you, Elizabeth? Any regrets? That many, huh?
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets, and I work on it daily, is for a long time I treated myself very horribly. I did not respect the being that I am, the purpose that I was created for, and I was incredibly hard and just awful to myself. A long time, very long time, and I did not deserve that. I wouldn't treat a stranger on the street that way, and that's one of my biggest regrets. I didn't trust in who I was, and I'm not going to do that anymore. And so I can feel the mental old habits kick in once in a while. and I have to fight that, and I do. That's one of my biggest regrets of life. I wasted a lot of years doing that to myself.
I don't feel regrets are something worth keeping. I think it's something that you find what you regret and then let it go. Either forgive yourself for that or whoever's involved with it, or correct it if you can and still want to. But to carry this burden, this emotional muscle knot that just ties you up a little bit that you never really realize till you poke it, I don't think that's something you want to do. I think finding a way to get through that, past that, and over it is healthier.
Yeah. There's a few murders I didn't commit that I regret.
John says he ate all his regrets.
That's a missed opportunity.
You can go back and change the regrets.
I will say this, most people regret things they didn't do as opposed to things they did do. You learn to live with what you did do, but the things you didn't do is what most people end up, if they speak of regrets, especially at the end of their time here in this world, realm, reality, what you have you. Most people regret what they didn't do. So my advice to avoid regrets is do the things. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Tomorrow never comes. It's always now. It's always today. Why wait? Just do them.
You'll never be ready. Just
No.
go for it.
Whether it's buying a house, a car, having a kid, or going skydiving, never gonna be. Just do it. Writing a book, writing a screenplay.
Kevin.
Never don't do something because you think you might regret it. Because, and I don't know whether my situation's different, because like I say, everything happened, for the majority of the time leading up to just before I went into theatre, I was very calm about it. So it was only in those last 2 or 3 minutes that I even began to consider the potential finality of the situation, I suppose.
Right?
And again, they say it's different for everybody. Newsflash. That life flashing before your eyes, a catalogue of all the things you wish you'd done and you wish you hadn't done,
It's bullshit.
doesn't happen. None of that shit's important. You don't think about any of that. You think about the obvious things. Who the fuck is going to look after my wife if I die here and now? Are my kids going to be okay? Did I think about leaving a proper financial future for everyone else behind? Who's going to break the news to my dad? Things like that. All this, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd never done that. Didn't even think about it for 1 minute. So if I didn't think about it when I was potentially on the verge of dying, why the fuck do you waste a single second of your life worrying about it when you're not potentially dying? Move on, put it behind you, do something positive today. Fuck the negative from yesterday.
There we go. There we go.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
I'll gently sip a very watered down caffeinated beverage.
Coffee.
John says, I'm not dead yet, so I can't regret what I haven't done. That's a good way to look at it, John.
That's it.
If you're not dead yet, you still have time to do shit. Don't regret it.
Exactly, yeah. Think right now, if you were to die in the next 5 minutes, what are your top 3 regrets? If they're shit, you've still got time to improve your list.
I didn't have a beer.
I wasn't having sex until I died.
That's an happy sex. You can always masturbate.
Not always. After the 4th or 5th time, I have to take a break.
They're trying to clear you with the paddles. Claire, he won't let go.
What are you trying to put the paddles on his cock for? That'd be a heart attack.
Hard.
See, John says
Yeah,
us
it
old
would be.
people are just happy to wake up, and let's take that for a moment, because old is relative. Different people see old. Joey says, I regret watching this stream. Joey, honestly, we regret you being here, so we're all together. It's but so if us old people are just happy to wake up, what age can you hit the point where you're just happy to wake up? And I've known people who are 70 and 80 who are bitter every time they wake up. Like, fuck this shit again.
Off the top of my head, 43.
There you go. That's Kevin's answer. It's but I've also known teenagers who are not happy when they wake up, and then I've known the other side too. So, are all four of you happy when you wake up? Are you happy you have another day?
I'm not just happy to wake up. I'm happy I have another day. I'm just happy, looking forward to it. It is another day, so looking forward to it.
Depends on the day.
Because I know somebody's gonna fuck it up within 30 minutes.
That's got to be rough on your day off because you know it's going to be Teresa that does the fucking up. So you were saying, Chris, depends on the day?
Yeah. Some days, absolutely. Other, why the fuck am I getting the fuck up? I would much rather not. So.
What about you, Elizabeth?
I'll agree to that. When I was getting up at 5 every morning on the train by 6 in New York, going to my next crappy job with kids that didn't give a fuck about what I was teaching them, I didn't want to get up. But now, I look forward to it. I don't quite leap out of bed. I have real sleep disorder, but I get up and I think, okay, this is a great day. Let's write some more. So I look forward to it.
Well, we're at that age. You don't leap out of bed. You get out of bed and limp 8 feet before you can even walk standing up, and then it goes from there.
Wow.
But, to clarify,
I'll top that. I opened my eyes this morning, remembered I couldn't smoke, and went back to bed for another half an hour. I just went, fuck this shit.
but
That's sometimes the mantra.
See, but
Suck it up.
by happy, I don't necessarily mean, yay, I'm awake, it's a day, but content, at peace, comfortable, as opposed to a emotional high or low equivalated with getting out of bed. I don't tend to dread waking up, and I don't tend to be terribly excited, but I am very much at peace and relaxed when I wake up, whether it's to my alarm to go to work or whether it's whenever the fuck I want to wake up and I can go right back to sleep if I want.
I'm excited to go to work, and I work at home, which, is a few feet from my bed, but I am very,
I'd be more excited about it in that scenario.
How's that webcam business going anyway?
It's the best job I've never gotten paid for.
I love to come to work.
I mean, right now, I could probably work from home. Because, we're opening the last show of this season.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any, thing that I could do in the theater because there's nowhere to put any of it. So, for the next maybe month and a half, the next month, I could work from home. But
would you get anything
after
done?
that, I gotta go into work because the theater is my office. I got shit to do.
They let you do that? It'd be a great mental refresh.
I could probably convince my boss to let me telecommute because this is the only time that we could. Because today I spent my entire day drafting, and I'm going to spend my entire day tomorrow doing more drafting, which does not necessarily require me to be at my desk. I have extra screens here at home that I could draft from.
Mm-hmm.
So
Play Warcraft and draft.
no drafting would get done if I was warcrafting.
Okay,
the
card
ones
game.
I have tomorrow are all I could call into all of them.
You combine the two somehow and get war drafting.
Warcrafting.
It's like normal Warcraft, but very precisely plotted.
It's a fabulous idea.
So, Chris, the topic was your idea. about being happy to be here. Do you have some extra thoughts to add to this? What inspired the topic tonight?
I mean, I'm glad every week that I get to hang out and talk to you people.
What do you mean by you people?
What do you mean, you people?
It's because I'm a Twinkie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Hostess with the mostess.
okay, this is going to be a trigger for somebody. So trigger warning, people. Andrea today says, you know what, if people can choose their gender, I can choose my ethnic background, and I can change it from day to day if I want to. So one day I'll be Asian, one day I'll be Mexican, next day I'll be Italian. Whatever I feel like.
I agree.
It's genetics be damned.
So what is she today?
Happy because she's getting attention from corporate for being a good employee. And money.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And money. So definitely white today then.
I thought you were going to say Jewish. I'm like, ah.
And apparently not female.
Well, there you go.
Oh, you just said she was getting money. You didn't say she was getting the same money.
Oh, that's true.
We just got an email this afternoon from our general, not the general manager. What is his title? I don't know.
Your
One
pimp?
of the big wigs. My boss's boss's boss.
The owner.
What is it? I don't know. But every full-time staff member who's been here for the whole fiscal year is getting $1,000 bonus at the end of the month.
Wow. Does
Yeah.
that include you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yay!
Can you not tell by the way you still got a smile on his face?
But, they're just lumping it into our paycheck at the end of the month.
What are you going to do with that $1,000, Chris?
Probably pay off a giant not a parking ticket, bus ticket. I drove past a school bus. They're $500.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, like, Maryland has a set of rules of, like, when you can keep driving past a stopped school bus. And the instance in which I drove past the school bus is one of those instances that is ambiguous in, like, is it your fault or not? Did you have to stop or not? And so I tried to argue, and they were like, nope, fuck you. Give us the $500. So
You get fined for driving past a school bus,
that has
even though
stopped
the
with
school
its
bus
stop
is
sign out.
stationary at the side of the road.
Yes, because it's letting children out. So, like,
And?
it depends on the
Were you driving on the sidewalk through the fucking children
No.
at the time, Chris? Is this the issue? Or
No, but
No.
they may have to cross the road.
Oh, okay. Right, so in your country you find drivers, whereas in this country we just tell the little bastards to open their fucking eyes.
We used to do that, but then the 90s
mental.
arrived.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
We used to do that, but then the 90s arrived.
Yeah, sorry, mate. The 90s came and went in England as well. We still don't fine people for overtaking a school bus. If a kid steps out from in front of a school bus under moving traffic, we call them a twat.
Or we call them an ambulance.
We're both.
Well, yeah, we'd call them an ambulance, but we blatantly call them a twat first.
Call them the twatulus.
Yes.
That's
So
crazy. See,
the thing was, there were, in theory, 5 whole lanes and a turn lane, like the double turn lane in the middle. And they were all the way over on the far side, and I was all the way over on the far right. Traffic was still moving. It's not like I'm going to stop. You're not letting kids cross 4 lanes of traffic with, like, a double turn lane instead of median. Now, had I been 50 feet more forward than where I was, there's a designated median, and then it wouldn't have mattered. But because I was in, like, the turn lane, there was the turn lane in the middle. Yeah, it's dumb. I'm super
It's
pissed.
expensive.
Yes. Well, they don't want you driving past school buses and killing children.
Well, yes, they do, because they make
They're two very
$500
different
a
things,
pop.
surely.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
You think that fine is high to stop you? That fine is high because they want to make money.
Yes,
It's,
because a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
Were the lights on? Were they flashing? Was that little stop sign hanging up the side of the
was.
bus? Yeah,
But they were
that's how they got you.
3 lanes of traffic away
I know.
with a
I
double
know.
turn lane in the middle. Like 50 more feet forward, there would have been a median there and it wouldn't have mattered. But like it,
I know.
John turned to political and says, "So you were fined for being far right."
I have to confess, now that John said that, I was over on the far right and I bit my tongue to avoid muttering under my breath like a lot of America these days. Not that I can take the piss in this country, Jesus Christ.
Not in public anymore, at least. It's,
Well, you can, but you might get ticketed.
so you're going to use it to pay off debts, like when your parents help you with the car repair thing and the DMV thing and this ticket and.
Well, I'm glad that worked out, though. I mean, you've got a little money now you can spend on it, so it was unfortunate, but.
Excuse me.
Surely you're going to go have a nice dinner with some of that money, right?
Are you muted again? Did you mute yourself, Chris?
I did myself.
Well, Chris, I'll point out about the fine dinner. I feel I cook a pretty good dinner and I have reasonable prices.
All right.
Movie night.
Well, if we're throwing it out there, I'm a fully trained professional chef with 24 years experience and I've got no work for the next 6 weeks at least. So.
And you could afford
All
the
right,
plane
let's
ticket,
start
Chris.
these plane tickets now.
Just don't forget to warn them that I've recently had a heart attack.
Here's your bowl of cereal,
Not for any
Chris.
reason, it just might blag me an aisle seat.
Oh, you're going to bring him here. I thought you were going there.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather come to you as I've never been to England. I guess I need to get my passport together.
It would make the mobility issue a lot easier on me as well. I'm not even allowed to lift a heavy bag of shopping at the moment. It's making home deliveries glorious. I'm like, you're right there, darling. Shout you. Oh no, sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I noticed for the past few weeks she hasn't posted any pictures of you on Instagram, so this explains why. She can't take a photo while carrying all the groceries. So
The big question everyone has is this like bonus that we're all getting going to replace the 3% cost of living increase that we were promised or not?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Our survey said.
Yeah, what do you put your money on? What's your bet? Yes or no?
Maybe. We'll see. Because in theory, the pay increase has already been approved by the board. So we should still get it, but this seems like odd that they're, throwing an extra $1,000 at us.
I guess stay tuned to find out the predicament of Chris.
So what about everybody else? What makes you happy to be here? And here doesn't have to be on the show. It could be on the planet or on the show or anything in between.
Good question.
You actually have a cat, Ed.
There's 3 of them. I have 5.
Yeah, I know. I saw all 3 of them in the background, and I wanted to yell out "Kitty," but
What?
I have
I
5
was
pussies
talking,
in the
and it
house
would
now.
have been rude.
You have 5
Okay.
pussies in the house.
Yeah, Teresa, Kathy, my roommate, and her 3 cats.
Okay, so Kathy's the one building the house next door, right?
Yeah, she's staying with us till our house is finished.
So how do you feel about having the cats in the house?
It's okay. For the most time, they're over on the guest side.
Right.
But they heard me in here tonight, so they were beating the hell out of the door. So I got up in them.
Gotcha. It's
Jenny's cool. I like Jenny. Jenny's white calico.
Yeah,
She's
saw her.
pretty cool.
She was right there a moment ago. I haven't
The
seen
rest
any
of
of the
them.
others, but nice. Yeah, just
Named after the Weasley.
She's named after Jenny from Forrest Gump.
because she's a slut.
She'll die of AIDS.
I didn't name them.
We're such
Run,
optimists.
Forrest.
What are the other cats' names?
I don't even know the other two things.
Okay. You're like, I like that one. That's enough for me.
Black cat and black and white cat.
Yeah.
You just
This
like
reminds me. I'll answer that question, Travis.
Go ahead.
With a quick story. I really enjoy making people laugh, especially strangers, especially at a distance, because it's.
I love to see you
it's
run up
just
and tickle them.
the most rewarding. I'm not fast enough to get away with that.
You will be with me
And,
in a moment.
Excuse
I'm
me,
going to
sir.
the grocery
Are you coming out of the
store,
hospital
you know,
from a heart
Virginia.
attack? Who's gonna get you? Go on. Sorry.
And I'm waiting, trying to just cross the parking lot to get into the store, and a car slows and waves me across. And so, just being in a mood, I do some kind of ridiculous slow motion run, you know, and start running. And as I'm getting to the other side and I turn around, it's a car all full of just a black family dying hysterically. And they lean out the car window and they scream at me, "Run, Forrest, run!" I see him in the store and they're like, "Hey, Forrest." That's why it's fun to be alive. It is fun to just entertain people and get them to laugh with you.
Yeah, I think we should
contagious.
remind people more that it's fun to be alive. And if they don't watch themselves, we will fucking kill them and they won't have fun anymore.
3 murders, never did.
So what about anybody else? Why are you happy to be here? Good answers, all of them. I really like that.
Well, I don't ever think about the happy to be here bullshit concept part
Right.
at all. That's too ooey gooey, whatever. But yeah, life is fun to me, and I try to have fun no matter what. Even when I'm pissed off, I like to enjoy being pissed off.
Yeah, I've warned plenty of
point.
people when I get into fights, if something ridiculous pops up, I am so calling that out. So we can laugh for a moment, then we can go back to being pissy, but there's something funny. Let's point that shit out real quick. It really upsets an argument. It makes certain people even more angry that I would fucking do
Yeah.
that in the middle of an argument. And that makes it funnier to me. It's, so yeah, and it doesn't work with cops, just to be clear.
No. They have.
I agree, Ed. I agree. In fact, I have a running list of the worst cups of coffee I have ever had. And I remember the places where they were. And Travis saw me experiment with one of them. And it was when we went to the hospital for tests. Not
Good night,
me,
John.
but we were there at the...
Good night.
and,
Safe.
and there's free coffee provided by, I don't know, some kind of helpers. And I tried it, and I remember him watching me. I think if I can get this right. And he said, "How is it?" And I said, "Oh, it's dreadful." And then he watched me again, take another sip. Just watching. And I was thinking the whole time, like, is this number 1? No, it's number 2. That's the second worst cup of coffee I've ever had. And you gotta keep working on it till you get it right in the place.
See, now that I know you have a running list, next time you're like, oh, it's horrible. If you tell me a number, I might be tempted to get a cup also. Just to compare, because I don't really like coffee anyway. I've grown accustomed to having it because Andrea loves coffee. But and by the way, everybody do give a quick shout out to John. He's heading out for the night.
John!
Bye, John.
John, take care, man. Have a good night.
And also, it is 5 minutes till. Does anybody need to take a quick break for a refill or the opposite of a refill?
Oh my gosh, I shouldn't.
Damn it.
Everyone.
Only
Get
5
some
minutes.
wine.
Takes me that long to walk up and down the stairs now.
That's 3 minutes to get up, and if you fall down, it's much quicker. I've pointed this out already.
Mate, trust me, a week after a heart attack, it takes you a considerably slightly longer than 3 minutes to get it up. Trust me.
Well,
Are you allowed to do that?
No. No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
if only they gave you that balloon
I said to
inflator
someone the
thing.
other day, it's like, they say, oh, it's really good to see you're maintaining such a positive, upbeat attitude so recently after such a major traumatic event to you. And I was like, yeah, especially in the face of the fact that some bastard just told me you can barely drink coffee, you can't smoke, you can't have sugar, you can't have salt, you can't have fat, you can't have anything you enjoy, you can't have sex, you can't even have a wank. You might as well just kill yourself now. How am I still positive in the face of all of this? What have I possibly got left that's keeping me this chip? I swear I am running on just nothing but the fumes of bitterness.
We let you use our Netflix account. There's something.
I can still Netflix and chill.
No, you can't chill.
You gotta
That was
heal
made
so you
clear.
can kill again.
The only problem is, I think I've watched everything on Netflix 4 times, like the whole of Netflix. I'm expecting one of those concern letters through the Netflix is going to turn up on my doorstep any day now. Are you okay?
Hand you a stack of
I was
DVDs.
going to
But,
respond to Elizabeth, and she took off her headset.
well, now's the best time to respond to her.
Yes, now we're perfect timing.
So as a man, you can get a word in edgewise. I wouldn't say that if she had her headsets on. I might be a dumb man, but I'm not that dumb or brave.
I will be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Right back.
Hurry up, damn it.
He needs wireless headset so he can take us with him. We'll just hear it unmute. Different noises. Mute again. It's so 3 minutes. We're actually going to have This Week in History. Ed, just so you know, we didn't do This Week in History at all while you were gone, so you have months worth of material, and we won't know the difference.
Shit. Well,
We have no idea what went on.
ditched most of my old stuff because I figured that's old shit. So.
Oh, we don't know. We don't get out of the house. Chris hasn't left the house since he was an Eagle Scout and didn't finish his project. He found World of Warcraft about that time, and everything else just left.
For me, it was girls. Yeah, 16 years old and girl.
And for
I didn't have
Aiden,
time for that bullshit.
I'm pretty sure it's the video games. Not that he's not interested. He texts the girls, but I don't see him like hanging out with them a lot. I almost feel like texting is a video game situation.
Oh yeah, you're back now.
Who? What?
Everybody froze and went silent.
They must have been loading up a new episode in the other room at your house.
Well, it sounds like my roommate is trying to put together his office, so he may be connecting his several computers to the internet.
You might need a bigger internet. And run a cord over here for me too, would you? So tomorrow night we're going to test Skype to see how that works and see if it's any better reception and whatnot. So we might be going back to that. If we do, I will have to coach everybody which version of Skype to download, because there is a web version built into Windows 10 that is still the app version. Then there's a full version. And I will have to help everybody make sure they don't get the stupid version.
Since I don't have a new version of Windows, I'm still running Windows 7.
Okay.
Which I just got a lovely message from them that was like, after 2020, we will no longer be supporting anything to Windows 7. So update to 10 now. And I was like, no. No.
Chris is old. He's like, and I don't want a toaster oven. A toaster is fine.
I've been saying no to updating to the new version of Windows every time there's been a new version of Windows.
Well, apparently, you just said you're still on Windows 7.
To be honest with you, I didn't notice much difference in what I use
Neither
on
did
a
I.
computer. Much difference between 7 and 10.
The difference is a lot more of the programs are app-based, which means they match what's on your phone, but not all of them.
See, I never do the app programs anyway.
Right, I use a
so-
browser. It's
Right.
yeah, you still can run it just like Windows 7. Now, Kevin, I noticed you got back very quick. Did you just piss in the kitchen sink or something?
No, I just had a good head of steam built up.
Okay, you all right? Put it back on mute. Catch your breath. We're gonna go, and I'm gonna play some This Week in History music so Ed can have the spotlight. Hold on, it's thinking about it. There it goes. Okay, and I've got to find another musician to do some theme music for our D&D game, and then we'll have John do the art and we'll do a 30-second video collage thing. Okay, Elizabeth made it back just in time. Ed, what happened this week in history? I'm happy to say
This
after
week
a
in
long
history,
absence.
shit happened, y'all. And like I said, I had like 3 shows ago when I thought I was going to be on here all kinds of shit, and I figured, well, that's old news now, so I threw that away, and then I had nothing left for tonight. So I've got shit for tonight, and Travis like, you got 3 months worth of shit to put on here. No, I don't.
Well, you could just Google who died, and we can go from there.
Well, but the one thing I did want to mention, because I wanted to talk about it last week, June 6, 1944. This was the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landing in Normandy, the beaches of Normandy. An amazing fact, and I found out today there was actually 3. There was a 97-year-old paratrooper that made a jump into commemorating the anniversary this year. It was a tandem jump, of course. And I found out there was also a Canadian and Englishman as well, 94 years old and 95 years old, that made jumps into D-Day.
Yeah, I saw the little video snippet of them jumping out of the plane. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping or being pushed? Wheeled.
Well, it was a tandem jump, so I guess they're being pushed because they're strapped to the front of the guy.
So,
Lucky guy.
dangled.
Yes, dangled, not dingled. Being dingled in midair is very different.
Just trying to picture the aerodynamics of steering a tandem skydive when the guy strapped to your chest is in a wheelchair.
And you need good shocks, so when you hit the ground, you bounce.
No.
Let's make sure he goes in tires first.
Oh, wow.
And the thing is, I'm very confident with these gentlemen being military men, they would appreciate our horrible sense of humor.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
And if not, they've probably got
there's-
good aim and will shoot our ass and we won't know the difference.
Being military, the jokes would have been funnier.
I'm sure they made the same jokes, or somebody close to them did.
No doubt. No doubt.
So
So
you
one of the largest celebrations in this country was just over the water from me, but unfortunately I wasn't well enough to be able to go across and take part in it since I was in the middle of having a massive coronary in the middle of it.
Well, they flew you over in a helicopter.
Just banging on about it again.
They flew you over in a helicopter for it, Kevin. What are you talking about?
Well, we barely even see police on the island, but we had armed police on our seafront all that day.
Arm and legged, huh? All right.
No, no legs, wheelchairs.
Not because of any military remembrance, I'm sad to say, but because the large orange buffoon was just at the side of the water.
I love how it gets quiet right there.
Tumbleweeds.
So how did you enjoy Trump's visit there, Kevin? Good traffic?
Briefly.
Give him a heart attack.
It's Trump's fault. Thanks, Trump.
We should clarify. When you ask me questions like that, I feel the need to clarify. When you say, how did you enjoy it, do you mean me personally or me as the de facto representative of the entire UK populace?
Is there a difference?
I was going to say, a little of column A, a little of column B.
Well, sometimes I'm slightly more bitter. Slight. I was largely indifferent to it, to be honest. I actually thought it was, and I mean no disrespect by this, but I thought it was a shame that he actually came to Portsmouth and Southsea and took such a prominent part in that particular display, because not because I didn't want him there, but just because it detracted an awful lot of media attention from what should have been the focus of the day, which is
That's a fair point.
the rightful remembrance and acknowledgement of the horrendous sacrifice laid down by other people for us. Ed.
But had he not gone, the Liberals would have criticized him until the end of his days for not showing up.
Absolutely, I get it. It's one of those, you could, damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios,
And he sent out a tweet that morning which called, what actress was it? Not Susan Sarandon. One of the actresses who was critical of him, and he basically called her something derogatory, like old used up bag or something. And that's not exactly it. I've got it all wrong there, but you get the idea. And people heavily criticized him for that. And they said, and on D-Day, this day of all days. And I'm thinking, really, you're looking for stuff. Is it couth? No, but this man is not known for his couth. Does it matter what day he puts it out?
If you go in Twitter on the morning of the 6th and you call someone a Nazi, I can understand someone getting a bit up in arms about the inappropriateness of using that comment on that day, but it's D-Day, so everybody around the world must say nothing but nice things to each other. That's just not logical.
Yeah,
the two have nothing to do with each other.
Why are you going to be a different person on that day than any other day? Even on Christmas, I will allow you to insult me if you want to. It's okay. But not on Ramadan, fuckers.
When is that?
It just ended last week.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel so much better for these folks when Ramadan is in the cold months, the short months with the shorter days. In the summer, I'm like, oh man, I feel so bad. You can't eat for 14 hours a day. Because they don't eat during daylight hours. They fast during daylight hours.
I'm standing there going, you want a bacon sandwich?
And they're like, yes, but no, I can't. For 2 reasons, asshole.
A random thought that's just occurred to me. Can Muslims eat vegan bacon?
Yeah. Because there's no pork in it. Yes.
I would presume so, or presume because it's not flesh of the swine or whatever.
Correct, yes.
I don't know.
You can eat vegan bacon, but it has to be wearing the proper headgear. It has to cover 90% of its body. And it must be a virgin.
And people will still take the complete piss out of you, regardless of whether you're Muslim or not.
And also, though they can eat it, they cannot enjoy it because it's vegan bacon, so come on.
I was like the Bill Bailey line, the comedian says, my friend's a hardcore vegan, he won't even drive through towns with ham in the name.
This is really hardcore, man.
So, Ed, do you have anything for...
I got 3 movies. I was trying to see how long we could drag that out.
We're professionals here. We can go another couple hours if we need to.
Ghostbusters, 1984.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Ghostbusters, 1984.
Yeah, 35th anniversary on the 8th, Saturday the 8th, Ghostbusters Day.
Yep.
And,
Are we allowed to say bad things on that day?
just not about the dead that have returned.
They're making another one.
So a lot of our senators and congressmen, we can't speak ill of them. What, Chris?
That they're making another Ghostbusters.
They are, which ties into the first 2, kind of skipping over, because they're going to have the living members. Ooh, I wonder if they'll have the dead members as ghosts. That would be cool.
Hey.
Isn't it's the son of one of the actors is writing and directing
Reich
or something. I can't remember the name.
So it'll be a lot like that 90s cartoon when they didn't have the rights but still wanted a Ghostbuster cartoon. So it was like the real Ghostbusters or like some other where it was like a bunch of teenagers learning to take over the Ghostbusters job.
That's what I was kind of hoping the more recent movie would have been. For it was if it was a passing of the torch. I didn't mind that it was all women or anything like that. I wasn't worried about that. But yeah, I would have liked to seen it passing it down, and I did like the only part of part 2 I liked is like the first 20 minutes where you realize, though it's only a couple of years later, the whole world doesn't believe any of this shit happened, and they're doing kids parties now. I'm like, that is great right there, and then the rest of it just kind of sucked.
That's it. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, but that was the 80s.
The new one, the latest one foray into the Ghostbuster genre. I was very disappointed in it. It didn't have balance and symmetry. It was the comedy when they just say improvise and then they shoot a bunch of shit and put it together. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think that one was a doesn't.
I enjoyed the comedy more than I enjoyed the plot. The plot was okay.
There was a plot?
Absolutely.
I still haven't seen it, so.
Same here.
It's not going to emotionally scar you, but it's just not particularly good at all. Yeah. And you have all that talent, and it's just they're all competing the entire time for attention instead of allowing certain people to be the straight man.
I get annoyed by comedy movies as well when they seem to think that the presence of comedy is an excuse for the lack of a plot. If I want to watch 90, 100 minutes of one-liners, I'll go and put stand-up comedy on.
Right.
If I watch a comedy movie, I want to laugh as I watch a story. I want the comedy and the story to be working hand in hand. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Not just the story being literally an excuse vehicle to enable famous, funny people to crack one-liners for 90 minutes.
Well, and I'm currently, if I may, writing one, and I have to say, just because it's comedy, I think there needs to be also moments of sincerity.
Right.
Moments of story, moments of character being
Black
revealed.
And white, light and dark, yeah.
Yeah, to cut it up, break it up. And it's okay to have that. And it doesn't always have to be, there's moments of it works, but not 90 minutes.
Well, even the original Ghostbusters, it was 70% story, 30% comedy, maybe not even that much, maybe just 25% comedy. So it was a smattering of comedy through a storyline. Now, the latest one, in my opinion, being 2 hours long, I feel like they could have taken a half hour of comedy out and had a tighter story, or they could have taken 45 minutes of plot out and had a better comedy. It's kind of like Repo, the musical. I feel like it was a good movie, but they tried to do too much over-the-top horror and too much comedy, and they should have cut back on one or the other instead of trying to push them both at you.
There's two scenes in the original Ghostbusters. I think I was in 6th grade maybe when I saw it. The library scene with all the cards flying out of the card catalog and the slime and all the stuff that was hand done that was just like people imagining, like, okay, what if? That was terrifying. That was fun and scary. And the scene where Sigourney Weaver is in her chair and then Zool comes out of the fridge and those hands erupt from her chair and hold her down as she's dragged into the kitchen. It was spooky and crazy and it just stuck in my brain. And that's creative, smart writing and planning. And that's what this story lacked, this latest film. Yeah. They just cranked it out. And it's a shame because it had a lot of potential to be huge.
What other movie you got there, Ed?
Okay. Also in 1984, this week, Gremlin.
What is it? Gremlins.
Gremlins.
They're doing another one of those too, aren't they?
I have heard rumor. I haven't verified, but yeah, I have heard it.
Huh. Part 2 was crap in that one also, because it was the 80s, and we never got a decent part 2 except for Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Was there any other good part 2s? Even Indiana Jones part 3 was, well, the best of the 4.
Gremlins was the first microwave scene, wasn't it?
Probably.
Putting the creature in the microwave, hit start, beep.
That was a great family horror? I don't know, but it was scary.
That mom in that kitchen scene, she kicked butt. She really hung
Oh, yeah, that was a good scene with the frying pan and everything. And it's yeah, but all in all, it's, you know, you had a great movie there, and even though, like in the end of Ghostbusters, you had the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which brought a lot of comedy into the climax. In Gremlins, you had the scene with like Gizmo driving the Barbie car. And
That's all right, I forgot.
yeah, I still
the
felt
transvestite gremlin.
yeah, there was that. There was that.
Yes.
But you know, and I commented this to someone about their work recently, it flipped back and forth between very, very scary, like the scenes where the gremlin gets out and gets the science teacher, that's really tension-filled and frightening. And then it flips back and forth between the comedy. So you kind of get a little breather and then pop, 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 pop.
Well,
and then, that was fun. Fun experience, first time out.
I love the idea of the small antagonist, you know, the undersized creature that is horrifying. And I was thinking about that.
Gets under things and you can't find them and you have to get down on all fours.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Cat's Eye with the little goblin thing, the wall goblin.
Gremlins, remember the girl, her father dressed as Santa and then died in the chimney?
Yeah.
So she could never like Christmas again.
Yeah, it was a good movie. And then part 2, I don't even really remember what part 2 is about. Oh, how about the scene where they're all watching the movie?
Oh,
You know, I was just thinking that. Gary says, what the fuck ever happened to Zach Galligan? And Phoebe, was it Phoebe Cates that played the female lead? The one that didn't like Christmas? Is that her name?
yeah.
But both of them.
I don't know. Yeah, that was good.
By the way, I had a great idea for a new Brendan Fraser mummy movie, which is something I've been saying they should do with Indiana Jones. So either one, I'd be happy. You get the actor as he is now, but you put him in a chair telling stories of his earlier adventures. Because the first Mummy movie was great. The second, third one was crap. But what we loved is the chemistry between the 3 primary characters in The Mummy. You know, Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, and John, what's his name? So
the cartoon wasn't bad.
Oh, I never.
Oh, really?
Didn't even know.
Yeah, there's a cartoon. It takes place like
before the kid.
No, it's with the kid. Like the kid gets the bracer on, and then it's a series of like misadventures of them trying to like prevent the mummy from finding the kid with the bracer. It wasn't bad.
Okay. It's but yeah.
It was in that same like studio that did the Men in Black cartoon, and I'm trying to think of the other one. It was one of those like, you know, after school cartoons or Saturday morning cartoons that came on that was in that same vein.
Back when cartoons meant something, damn it.
Right.
When we look forward to them instead of now we're like, oh, it's on all the time. No big deal. There is no cartoon out there like Looney Tunes anymore, though, is there? Just good 3 to 6 minute shorts with ridiculous situations and silliness.
You could say Pixar still does them. They're a little bit different because, you know, now they've gotten very different, but that's a topic for another show.
Okay,
write it down.
What's your third movie?
1985, Goonies.
Dang.
Now, there's a great triple feature. There was at the drive-in theater down here a couple years ago. Andrew and I went to the 80s double feature, and it had Goonies and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And they had an 80s dance party before it too, where they set up part of the parking lot as a dance and put up, music and psychedelic lights and stuff, and it was a good time. But yeah, Goonies.
Wow.
There's another one that was a family movie that had a bit of a scare to it, not as much as the others, not nearly as scary as Gremlins.
Wow.
No Goonies fans?
Yeah. I love the Goonies. I was a lot fatter then as well, so I used to do the truffle shuffle.
No? That must have been before your last 2 feet of your growth spurt hit. You were 6.
I don't know how old I was when the Goonies came out. I didn't lose the fat till I was 14.
Okay.
I was a chubby kid, really. My dad always jokes I just stayed the same weight when I would hit puberty. It's just like someone took a piece of dough and just the same amount of dough, they just rolled it out thin.
I do think of you as a thin guy. I'm sure you might have a different opinion of yourself, but I think of you as thin.
No, I'm fairly skinny. I'm not underweight or anything, but I'm right on the bottom end of where my BMI should be. So I'm 6'8" and I weigh 13.5 stone.
Okay. Which in American
I
is...
have no idea what that is in American.
I don't
got it.
Okay, Elizabeth's going to check it. I don't remember how many pounds a stone is. It's like 12.5, isn't it?
14.
14?
2.2 pounds in a kilo, 14 pounds in a stone. Or I just Google 13.5 stone in kilo.
Oh, skinny boy. What do you like, 165, 162?
Really?
Can't be right.
Did you get it? So 14 times 13.5, right? 189. He's 190 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
You weigh less than I do.
Same here. There we go.
Yeah, I got that big monkey on my back.
Thanks for looking at all that.
Someone's got to hold the stick up my butt.
Can I speak?
What's that, Ed? I tell you, there was a chip on my shoulder, and that's what adds all my weight, but I think I took it and ate it.
Kevin?
Before we move on, while we're talking about things that have significant year anniversaries at the moment, a special shout out to my good friend Luke Lamont, who demonstrated his love and concern over the fact that one of his best friends had just had a serious heart attack by immediately the following day accepting a booking for a gig in Malta and fleeing the country rather than having to put up with me being around all the time. But before he left, bless him, he brought me a large pile of magazines to read through.
Are they porn?
No, rock and metal based music magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down to read the first one, and I thought, this is really nice. He's left me some reading material, something that he's obviously taken. He hasn't just grabbed the first thing off the shelf. He's taken the time to pick out issues that have got articles about bands that he knows I like and stuff. It's a lot of thought gone into this, and it really buoyed up my spirits. Except that when I took my school exams, my higher exams, one of the albums that I had on almost constant rotation that year was an album by a Californian metal band called Machine Head called Burn My Eyes, which had just come out. So imagine my joy when I opened the very first magazine that Luke had bought me to read, and from the paper outlay that it was contained within dropped my commemorative 25-year anniversary patch for Machine Head's Burn My Eyes album. So thank you for reminding me of my greyness and mortality, Luke prick.
Because the heart attack wasn't enough to remind you of that?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's 25 years since you sat your exams.
Little Kevin Bruce there.
I was watching Toei stream earlier, and she was farming, and she mentioned, let me go see if the cotton is rotten yet. I'm like, rotten cotton? That's a metal band. Or a bad tampon. But I didn't say that in her stream.
Which would also be the good name for a metal band, possibly Swedish.
Rotten tampon?
Yeah.
Okay. Brown.
But like, if you pick a horrendous name like that for your metal band and you tell someone and they react badly, just go, it's from Scandinavia. It's like the get out cause for anything dodgy about metal.
Tepid tampon.
No, that's a British metal band.
They're okay.
I don't know. I feel like
They
that
don't
would be
give a
more
fuck.
of a British like punk band.
Right. Okay, perfect example of how different ethoses approach different things. America, we're going to be a massive thrash metal band. We need something aggressive that people remember us by, something that sums up our visceral approach to music. We're going to call ourselves Slayer. Yeah? One of the bands I love at the moment on the up-and-coming British music scene. Right, we're going to be a metal band. We're going to be faster. We're going to be aggressive. We need a good name, lads. We're going to call ourselves Footprints in the Custard.
That's
Go and check them out, by the way, on YouTube. They're awesome.
It feels like a Weird Al song.
Yeah, that is generally their name.
One of the bands I saw in New York was called Wet Specimen.
Oh,
Nice.
And they were saying, I said, this is a great name. I said, what about Moist?
There was a band in the 90s called Moist, wasn't there?
maybe.
I think so.
Gary
Yeah, that rings
mentions
a bell.
Porcupine Tree.
Yes.
Is that a real band or is that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's
Sorry.
Can I get one of
Sorry,
those?
I get all
trees?
defensive there for a moment.
No, I didn't. Oh, okay.
Steady, Kev, steady. Right, now everyone's heard of Porcupine Tree. Breathe.
I'd plant one of those in the yard. Sounds like it'll keep fuckers away. Dreamy psychedelia. So, Kev, you might want to pay attention. Gary's throwing out some names you may recognize.
Yes. Yeah, Porcupine Tree. Don't have one of those near your Smashing Pumpkins. It gets messy. Zach Galligan, by the way, is still releasing movies, although his last movie was in 2014, and judging by his filmography, it appears to have been very much bargain basement horror based. Still occasionally doing bit part TV acting jobs. One of his most recent was a few years ago. He played a character in Law and Order. So there you
Who
go.
hasn't? Who hasn't? Ed, what else you got for this week in history?
Modern shit going on. Netflix is in trouble to the tune of about $3.5 billion.
For what?
Spending.
What?
Spending. They're spending more than they're bringing in.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's I watched what movie was it? It was a Netflix original, and then I watched something about it afterwards, and the guy was like, it was great because I wanted to make it, and he was a bigger name, and he went to Netflix and threw the idea at them because he didn't have anybody else to make it, and they went, great. They cut him a check and handed it to him, and Elizabeth, there wasn't like 10 rewrites of the script before they gave the green light. They were like, nope, sounds good, go make it. And trying to remember what it was that kids movie I was telling you about where they're
Edge of
running
the world, yeah.
And it was pretty decent. It was very reminiscent of Goonies or Gremlins, 4 kids from different lifestyles in a summer camp. Aliens attack and they've got to make their way to the military base to save the world.
Okay, I'm with you now. I've just seen the adverts for it recently.
It wasn't bad, Kevin. It was entertaining. It wasn't a great movie, would have never been a blockbuster, but it was pointed out by the guy who made it and wrote it, who, I want to say McGee directed it, and I forget who wrote it, but you would definitely recognize their work, because they also did, like, Thor Ragnarok or something. One of the Thor.
But that's kind of how the industry is operating right now, and Spielberg and Lucas have been big proponents against it. All of the studios are taking huge bank loans
Yeah,
Huge
Netflix
debt.
is on track to spend 15 billion in original content this year alone. They're just-
Yeah. Like, you can't afford one or two bombs, and then you're screwed.
Right.
You know, and that's what those tentpole productions, they call them.
Right.
They put a lot of money into these, hoping to get a lot of that back, so then they can push that money out to everyone else. So it covers all the earnings and losses.
It was pointed out that the smaller movies have been crushed because of exactly what you're talking about, and there's still entertainment value in these smaller productions. I want to say he was given, I don't know, it was a small amount compared to a lot of them, and I don't remember, it was like 1.5 million or whatever, but it wasn't much compared to a lot of them. And they
You know, that
together-
number of, sorry.
Go ahead, go on.
Just
Hi, Anna.
15 billion. I mean, that's an extraordinary number. And we all just think, oh, okay, Bill, I can't.
They can see you.
Hey, there's someone over your shoulder.
Here, make some room for you?
Yeah.
Do you want to
We start
grab a
talking
tea or
big
anything?
numbers, and
I'm
then Grant
listening.
shows up.
Okay.
Hey.
That'll put you on this, and I'll angle this
That's fine. I'll
down.
get over here.
No. Here, it's fine. Wherever. I will fix the camera so it sees this better. Let's
Here
see.
she comes, just walking
It's
down the street.
so yeah, Andrea watched Edge of the World with me, the kids' summer camp movie.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's there.
It was alright.
It's worth a peek, Kevin. While you got a little extra time on your hands. It's
And I've watched anything that rated like 12 or above on Netflix 3 times already.
there is. Well, you have other.
I could give you my Netflix login and you can watch all different things.
Oh, he has ours.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So yeah, we
The
wish
producer's here.
we wish he had one that we could use, that we could watch Star Trek Discovery.
Well, we went over there and logged in and watched stuff there, so he's
That's true. That's true.
It is different though.
We just forgot to unlog.
Yeah, so I'll be back over there to do that later.
There we go. So
We have Ed and Kevin.
we do.
Holy crap!
Hey, beautiful.
Hi.
And Fred.
Of course.
Hey, Kennedy, how are you?
Hey
I-
Kennedy.
Ed has cats.
Fred!
Ed has cats.
Ed has
Got
cats,
5 pussies in the house.
and 3 are cats.
Wait, we need to go see this. Oh, Fred.
It's,
Look
yep,
at that
there's,
happy kitty.
there's the star. Kennedy says, pretty good. Listen to you on the drive home from the dojo. Nice, Kennedy. Appreciate that. I was just looking at your
Thank you,
name
man.
earlier today, wondering how you've been. So, glad to have you pop in. We were just discussing. Nice. We have a new metal band that we're going to call it Rod and Cotton, or Rod and Tampon.
Okay, are you sure that name's not taken already?
No, we're pretty sure it's in Scandinavia, according to Kevin. It's, the movies that came out that Ed brought up, was, in case you want to comment on any, is the original Ghostbusters
Uh-huh.
on June 8th, 1984.
Oh, wow.
Gremlins,
Oh.
1984.
Goonies in 85.
Goonies.
I told him about the dance party double feature.
Drive-in, yeah.
The 80s, which was really the last decade of good TV show tunes.
Yeah, the last decade of awesome synthesizer tunes.
Oh man, don't rewatch Tron. It's
Well, the old one.
yeah, the original. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
napping
I
movie.
made that mistake recently.
Did you? Yeah, it's amazing that you loved it as a kid, and you watch it now. You're like, oh, I can't stay awake.
You know, I remember showing Lady Hawk to
Yeah.
a group of high schoolers,
Yeah.
and they
Like
were
how?
just hysterical over the music.
Well, I tell you what, we
Yeah,
can
it's
thank
cheap, it's fast.
we could thank George Lucas for bringing back the symphony orchestra to movie soundtracks.
Yes.
Star Wars.
It was. He almost went with synthesizer music.
Oh my god, it would be so much different with synthesizer.
I don't think we would have ever seen Empire
yeah.
Strikes Back. There's nothing like that rise of the orchestra to get the blood pumping for a good scene.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
One of the
know,
first CDs I ever bought was the soundtrack to Empire, I think.
I have Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk on LP.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Or you got the best of both worlds. You got disco synth
There is no best of that world. What?
mixed with symphony. It's So Ed, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, I got a little bit more. Okay. Somebody, and I think it was you, Travis, posted a meme about Disney. When Disney purchased Marvel, Disney purchases Marvel, then Disney purchases this, and then it ends up with Disney owning the whole fucking... Well, Disney has just purchased Hulu.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, hell.
Interesting. That would probably be why they didn't pull their 3 or 4 Marvel series off of Hulu.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Jessica Jones has season 3 coming out. So though they canceled Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Punisher, apparently Jessica Jones has continued on.
Huh.
And
Right,
I had heard, before I heard that Disney was purchasing Hulu, I had heard rumor, haven't confirmed it yet, that Hulu was picking up Punisher. So that may very well
nice.
be the case.
Nice. I still haven't watched season 2.
How much did they get it for? Did they say?
I don't remember the fund.
There's a lot of
That's a money machine at Disney, man. Disney should just start buying nations. I mean, just enough of it.
I'm sure they haven't.
The meme was they
Good.
months ago.
Last week there was a session of, I believe, Congress that went in where they were going to decide if they needed to attack Google, Facebook, Apple, and what's that? There was a fourth
I
one.
said, yeah. I said,
Fourth one also that I can't remember right now, to see if they are a monopoly and they need broken up the same way they broke up Microsoft, what,
Right.
15, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we used to joke about it at school on how Disney and Mickey would become the next Big Brother and would take over the world. And instead of going to
True.
countries, you would go, to different areas in Disneyland, and it would be everywhere. It's kind of not funny now. It's kind of...
well, it made me wonder why Disney
Yep.
wasn't included with those 4, because it feels like they have.
Because they paid him off.
It could be. Something John pointed out is
The Mickey Mouse ears are one of the most recognizable symbols in the world,
Yeah.
and I think it more recognizable than the cross.
Then the
Kevin?
cross.
Oh.
Comcast has stated it will sell its interest in Hulu to Disney, giving Disney market control no earlier than 2024, but with a guarantee the sale price will reflect a minimum total equity of $27.5 billion.
Damn.
Kennedy says Mickey Mouse is going to be public domain pretty soon unless Congress passes another law. Oh,
Can you
well,
imagine trying to write that check? Uh-huh.
No, I would imagine receiving that check.
there you go. Something
I
John
ran out of room. Give me another check.
something John pointed out is, a lot of people look at the Republicans going, they get their money from, big oil, big pharmaceutical, etc. And he pointed out the Democrats who bitch about big corporations get a lot of their money from Google, Facebook, Apple, these tech Amazon was the 4th one.
Oh, yeah, where you at?
That's it.
And drug companies.
What's that?
And drug company.
Enduro company?
Drug company.
Drug companies, yeah, big pharmaceutical. So, or are you saying Democrats get money from them?
Democrats do, yeah.
Okay.
4 times as much money from pharmaceutical companies than Republican. I think.
Okay. Well, pharmaceutical companies is something I'm not happy about. Just because now patients can go into doctors and go, oh, I want to ask you about this drug, and the doctor just prescribes it without necessarily knowing much about it.
I saw it on TV last night. I want to take it.
Was it on Criminal Minds or NCIS or?
I like those shows.
I know. It sounds like a plot line for it. Ed, you might like Boston Legal if you haven't watched it.
Bits and pieces up here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Danny Crane.
No,
Danny Green.
it's really nice how they have James Spader as the liberal Democrat and William Shatner as the conservative
Gun-toting-
Republican. Yeah,
Gun-toting Republican. That is my favorite character Shatner plays.
claiming that he doesn't have Alzheimer's. It's mad cow disease because he eats too many steaks.
and there was another Star Trek actress on it. Was it Jerry Ryan? Was she on there for a while?
I
Yes.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Odo's in Boston Legal.
That's true. Odo is there too. Renee Bergerac for whatever. I still think of Benson,
Yeah.
Come on in.
I did too.
where he was the lieutenant governor. Yeah, come on in.
It's my roomie.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, we can see her hand. There she is.
Nope,
How
she's
you
leaving.
doing?
Hey, come back.
Just passing through. Was she complaining you were keeping her up?
Oh no, she just got home.
Oh, okay. Tell her not to close the door. The cats will attack it. He had to open the door earlier because basically, yeah, 3 cats and
Whose cats are they?
Ed, you want to tell the story
Cats.
about the cats, where they came from, why they're there?
There's Kathy's building the house next door. She's staying with us till it's finished.
Oh, and she has cats. Okay.
She got 3 pussies. 4 actually.
And he knows the name of one.
And it's one of the 4-legged ones too.
What the hell? That's going crazy.
Mhm.
So what's the ETD for Kathy?
In the July.
Oh, that's
No, that's
that's
not
fairly
bad.
close.
How long has she
Alright.
been there?
Not even a month.
Okay, she's doing okay.
Wow.
Hmm?
Doing okay, having a roommate.
Oh yeah.
That's
We
good.
don't see her. She works all the damn time. And
Oh,
then we
man,
work
that's
the other
hard.
part of the time. So
I'm not surprised if she's building a house that quick.
She and the elves. Wow. That's a party at Ed's house, huh?
Well,
It's always a party
the
at that
topic
time.
tonight is we're happy to be here, and here's why. So, you want to touch on the actual topic?
Oh, I don't know. I had a great day at work.
Tell us about it.
I'm channeling Rosie the Riveter today. Yesterday it was Wednesday Addams at Breeds. But I got recognized, and one of the managers is like, "Can I take your picture?" They want to send it to corporate because I'm awesome, and they want to tell everybody how awesome I am.
Now, why have they discovered you're awesome?
Well, everybody's telling them I'm awesome.
You want to tell them about the
Customers.
stars? and
Okay.
stuff? There you
Now, Lowe's have this thing where you call in and you do.
go. Yes, Ed?
Huh?
But wait a minute, okay? I recognize you, and I think you're awesome,
I
and I
know.
wanted to take your picture, but you won't take your damn clothes off for me, so I don't get it.
You never asked.
No, she'll take your clothes off for you, but not a camera.
Well.
She took them off for me. I don't know what the problem is.
Was there a camera? Well, if you call in or you write into Lowe's and tell them that a particular associate was great or you had a good experience or they were helpful or whatever, they get recognized. Now, before, I would get all these stupid little pins. I have a whole collection of pins. I don't give a shit about that.
Here's you, Chris.
But now recently, since there's a new CEO and new whatever, I don't know, big changes at Lowe's, you get these patches and you get 5 patches, you get $50 cash. I like cash. I got 5 calls within a week. And well, there's more than that, but I'm getting all these things and I'm getting all this money because that's what I care about. But
You know, the fact that they're recognizing you probably means they investigated to make sure you weren't calling all over
well,
them.
the thing, no, and they showed me all the stuff that people written in.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I guess nobody else in the store is awesome enough for them to write to corporate about.
Well, Andrea's always told people, hey, here's a number, you can say I'm great, because she'd get a free card for a free soda.
Or something, you know, if I get something, that's cool.
And now that she's like, oh, there's money involved? And everybody else is like, I've worked here 15 years, I've had it one time. And she's like, you need to tell them.
Oh, I go up, I circle the number on the receipt, and I write my name. Just like I did, that's why I was late tonight.
But she really does give great customer service, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
I mean, seriously, she goes out of her way and she goes above and beyond on a daily fucking basis to help nice people. Now, assholes, they get minimal service.
Well, no, there was someone that was really shitty to me. I mean, they were shitty.
Is this that
and
one
I'm
guy?
just like, huh? Oh, no.
Different guy?
No, different people. But,
Okay.
you know, and even if they're shitty, I'm like, you know what? I'll be nice to them until they either come around or they leave. So, whatever.
Or the wonderful third option where you confuse the shit out of them. That's my favourite game to play at work. The more of an asshole you are to me, the nicer. Like, the fact that you've just upped your asshole level a little bit more has made me that little bit more pleased about my working day, that little bit more prepared to go out of the way and help you. You
Without-
just see it messing with their head, like, oh, I know I'm being an asshole to this guy. Why is he being more pleasant now?
Yeah.
Without sucking up. And that's the trick. A lot
Well,
of people
I
are
never
turning into little
apologize.
brown nosers. That's right.
I never apologize. I say thank you for your patience or thank you for understanding, but I never apologize because I did an experiment, and I apologized to some customers, and they started treating me worse. But if I decided not to say sorry and I thanked them for their patience, oh yeah, they were great because they felt like they were doing something wonderful. So it's all mind game, people. I'm getting good at it.
I'll say. You're
Uh-huh.
getting recognized for it.
Oh yeah.
Now, Ed, do you have anything
Yeah,
else in
but
This Week in History?
Be careful, they might
Oh,
offer
two more.
you a raise.
What else you got? We'll try to get through This Week in History before the show ends tonight.
Following on with the trend, Disney Plus is due out in November. $6.99 a month will be the cost.
No, that's $6.99, correct?
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah.
that's a fair price. Because, Chris, was it you and I talking about it, and you said some of them are $40? Was it you I was talking to?
I don't think so.
I
No, it
forget who it
wasn't
was. I was on the phone, I know that.
$6.99 for it, and it's just Disney content, or
Yeah, just Disney content.
But you're
Yeah.
getting the original Mandalorian show, a lot of these other stuff you're getting.
so it's not just movies, it's the shows. And,
Right. You
Okay.
get
Yeah,
everything.
there's
I mean, and it's
several-
also like all of the like 90s and 2000 Disney
Channel
like
stuff.
you
That's not
know
bad.
decom movies
Yeah.
and
And
like
all of Marvel, all of, you know, the Disney movies, and what else do they own that will be in there with Marvel and everything? Star Wars, all the Star
Soon
Wars
it'll be
content.
Star
everything.
Wars. Yeah.
And it's
Anything
streaming.
on ABC.
Yeah, they do own ABC, that's correct. So all of
Yeah.
Tool Time with Tim Taylor, whatever, Home Improvement, that's what it was called.
History
not
Channel, National
Golden Girls.
Geographic,
Nat Geo, yeah.
Fox News.
Holy cow.
And it's all streaming. So it's not like you got to be there at 7:30 to watch Golden Girls. You could just put it on and watch the whole
Oh, I
damn
could
thing.
binge Golden Girls. That's worth $6.99.
yeah, I'm all about it.
Really? I just got a tweet that I'm now streaming.
You're getting ready to end.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Cogsley. Good job.
That's funny.
It's so that's $6.99 for the Disney streaming service starting in November. I have recently picked up Amazon Prime again, and
Mhm.
what their current content is getting better every month.
What was that one show?
Mhm.
Not Escape, Escape.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. There's a hardcore sci-fi show called The Expanse,
Yeah, I don't want to call
and it's very
Mhm.
much plot-driven instead of character-driven.
Yeah, yeah.
But by the time if you can give it to episode 4,
It's good.
yeah, the mystery, the story really does. Yeah, have you watched it, Ed? Because you said
Yeah, yeah.
Have you
like
watched it all?
No,
Okay.
I've watched
I
4
watched like 2 episodes at work one night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Hard at work.
So, and I tell you what, if Jeff Bezos calls me, I'll tell him how to put Netflix out of business with Amazon Prime. There's a few changes he needs to make. What's that, Ed?
I have Amazon Prime. I have Hulu. I'll probably pick up Disney. I'm getting ready to ditch Netflix. It's just nothing I'll watch on it.
It is a challenge to find things, isn't it?
Oh, I like Netflix. I like Nailed It.
See, the problem I have with Hulu is all of the commercials. Because, like, when I got Hulu, you maybe had one, 30-second commercial, maybe a minute commercial at the beginning of your episode, and now you've got regular commercial breaks in the middle of all of your shit.
Yeah.
And they want you to pay $30, $40 a month to get their,
Right.
ultra premium that gets rid of commercials. And it's like, why?
Actually, their ultra premium that gets rid of commercials is more than that. But I got Hulu to replace my cable, so I'm still saving $80 even
Right.
though I gotta watch the commercials. So I don't mind.
I don't mind the commercials, but anytime a commercial comes on, it stops in the middle and buffers.
Those are the things that freeze, is the commercials.
I'm like, I just want to watch this damn commercial.
But now, I'll tell you this. Vudu, if you guys know when you have ultraviolet free movies that you get, and ultraviolet shut down, I think, so it's all on Vudu now. They have a streaming service where you can watch a lot of the 90s sitcoms and television shows, like TJ Hooker's on there, I think.
And then whenever you buy movies, that little digital code, that's how it saves all your movies too.
Right.
I didn't realize there was so much on there.
So now that has commercials also, Chris, but it's free. You just watch it with commercials. And
one of the things I liked about Hulu is the premium channels. If I want to watch something on a premium channel, for instance, Game of Thrones,
right?
I didn't get HBO when I first signed up for Hulu because it was in between seasons. Once the season began, I signed up for log on, put a check mark in. They charged me for HBO for whatever the 8 weeks was. Log in, uncheck the damn mark. I'm not being charged for HBO no more. I watch what I wanted to watch, and it's done.
And Amazon Prime is doing that now too.
What I like about Hulu is something will come on TV and you can watch it the next night, like with Orville. I love that.
Right.
We don't have to have TV service. We can still watch it. We just have to wait till the next day.
Which is good because we don't get TV service here.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Star Wars or the Disney one, we'll discuss it come November. We'll discuss
it. November?
Yeah, that's when it kicks in from what he just said.
Yeah, because a lot of good shows. They're planning on a lot of good shows. They're doing a Loki show.
Yeah.
They're doing Hawkeye training his apprentice show. Mandalorian, you already mentioned. So yeah,
we could try it for a month because they usually have a free trial.
That's true.
Thing.
And see if there's enough content that we think we could watch it for a year or two. It's
Or I'll just give you my password because I'm definitely getting it.
We will never do that.
Yeah, that's totally wrong. We would never.
Yeah,
so, just let us know when you get it, Chris.
Never.
So Ed, what's the last thing on your list so we get that covered?
One more. Just thought of when I was mentioning all the shows going up on Hulu. Knights of the Old Republic. Rumor has it there may be 3 movies coming out about Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, I heard. I'm excited for it if they follow the story arc and stay in that vein and don't try and do something weird and new.
Yeah.
Now that's actually a video game that I just played on stream 2 nights ago, and Gary might be joining me later this week to play it, which is kind of cool. And Chris mentioned he might be interested in jumping in again because he has an account he hasn't played with in a while. So. Yeah, that will be. There's a lot of content there that they can use with Darth Malgus and everything.
Yeah.
So, and Ed, it's a reasonable game, and you can play it for free if you decide to. Let us know, and we'll do what we can to help you. In the sense that you don't have to play with yourself when you can play with us.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I would love to follow.
I'll play with you, Ed.
To see the Revan storyline arc.
Yeah.
Followed.
Yeah,
because I've read the book.
The book.
It's pretty great.
Is that Gary? Hey,
That's Gary. Gary says he has some Star Wars. It's By the way, anybody who didn't get VIP, in the stream, like yourself, Gary, I didn't give people who subscribe VIP because you already get everything that the VIPs would get, and I only get so many VIP slots. So I tried to give it to, these other folks, like Bob. I made him VIP, Jamin and
Bob
his wife
is
Jewel.
very special.
Yeah, because they've been with Talk of the Tavern since the beginning, and though we haven't seen a lot of them lately, we see them occasionally. No, I pointed out, like, Bob will pop in and not say anything and leave. I think he's just lonely for his head.
I haven't seen Bob in months. T'Challa.
I get the feeling that the pirate outing at the end of June is off the table at this point in time. Hey,
Who is that?
it's Wood Live. That may be Daniel.
Hey, Daniel.
He's made like 15 different Twitch channels. So, I exaggerate. There's probably like, there you go. Yeah, he confirmed.
And Dan.
Daniel,
Okay,
I should.
really quick.
Go ahead, Ed.
Star Wars Galaxy Edge, the new theme park at Disneyland and Disney World.
It did open.
Cool.
It opened in Disneyland. You have a 4-hour limit. They give you a little wristband, and that tells it's a color, and it tells what time you're supposed to leave the park. If you're there beyond that time, get escorted out by stormtroopers.
That's awesome.
I would be their pest.
Yes, friends of mine out in LA have gone every day the last week.
I saw a 16-minute video of the soft opening where it was press only with a YouTuber who went through and showed a lot of the different stores and restaurants and the stormtroopers walking down the street, stopping and getting selfies with people. And
That's great.
yeah, it looks like you're in a Star Wars movie. It's freaking incredible.
Can I walk around with theme music?
I'm super excited from the pictures they sent me.
There's a droid factory. You can build your own full-size R2 or R5 unit. Or,
I'm scared of what people would use that for.
well, I'm wondering if there's a T7 unit from Star Wars The Old Republic that you can build. Let's do a closing toast before we run out of time here, because we're still cutting out of 10, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Okay. It's good to be back together.
Yeah.
Tink!
And I scheduled myself off next week, too.
We appreciate that, Ed. I want to remind everybody that on the stream there is a free book right there. That is in the world of the book I am currently writing on, that I often stream me writing that book, Silver and Smith and the Jazir's Light. No, not the Jizz Light.
Whatever.
We watched Monk. He had one of those in a hotel room. He was horrified.
Yeah.
And then of course Sunday nights we have our D&D game with Andrea and Chris and a few others, John and Robert and Aaron. So make sure you join us for that and hang out. And Gary just learned how to get bits for free, by the way. I showed him. He didn't realize it was that easy and available for free like that. And he's been throwing bits now. He's on our bit list.
British.
Appreciate all that support. Don't forget, if you have Twitch Prime, you can subscribe for free and support the channel at no cost for you. So, appreciate it. Thank you, Gary. Look at you flinging your bits everywhere. It's, and I haven't decided if I'm going to write after this or not. I may. I haven't decided, though. It's, I'll see what Andrew's up to before I make that decision. Gary's so proud. You should be. What were you going to say?
Oh, I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay. So, we're going to cut out of here. We're going to get some outro music in about 90 seconds. There's... See, and Chris, I really appreciate you using those. Those gifts you guys are seeing in the corner are in the store, and you get points, drinks, and they're labeled drinks, just for watching. Daniel says, how are the books coming along from your Kickstarter? I sent out a thing for everybody that they can claim the books if they're not looking for the two children's books, but I'm still looking for artists for the two children's books, since the other two artists couldn't fit into it, didn't work out with them. So as soon as they're done, they will be available for everybody. The story is written. It's just the 26 pictures per children's book. But any of the other books are available. I did send that out to everybody who supported the Kickstarter, and yeah, it's I'm stressed about it. I'm really stressed because I wanted them done months ago, but it will get done. I tend to make sure of that stuff. Let's do some outro music and get on out the door. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Good night, all.
Kevin sounds so tired.
What it is. Don't forget to join us at the
Thanks for
Tavern
coming,
next
Kevin.
week.
Appreciate you staying
Until
up
then,
late.
Have fun,
No problem.
keep learning, and be good to one another.
Amazed I could fit it
Now,
into my
raise your
busy
glass to
social
those who share.
schedule.
Enjoy the small moments
It's good to
every
see
day,
you.
and your dreams every day.
Now I know you're pushing it.
Push it real
You
good.
you can't die, Kevin. Where am I going to stay when I come over?
It's true. It's true.
Not
I
with
got
this
a lot of
snake.
drinks I need to buy in.
That's true.
There's my get fit motivation right there.